Ask him if he will unravel it, and I'm going to ask that each person take that ball of twine, wrap it loosely around your wrist, and pass it to the person next to you or behind you. And I want everybody in this sanctuary to have that ball or a little piece of that twine in their hand. And I want you to hang on to it. I don't want you to let it go, because I'm not going to tell you the ramifications if you let that piece of twine go. But they could be very severe. So just hang on to it, and if you need to have a little bit more, Keith, if you need to yank on it, go ahead and yank on it, and they'll give you some more. Now, maybe they won't. But I want everybody, take some back there to Bill Pennington. He counts. He's sitting back there. I don't want him left out. I don't want Bill left out. We got enough twine. Like yesterday afternoon, I was at Home Depot trying to figure out how many feet of twine do I need to cover this entire sanctuary. And it was 3 different lengths, 185 feet, something in the middle, and 585 feet. Well, after this morning's message is over, Mark, you have 585 feet of twine for the Building and Grounds Committee to do whatever they darn well please with. So, anyway, you can just do what you want to with it. There, now you can hear me. Is that better? Oh, I'll move this down. And it's going round and round, and everybody's getting hold of it. And you're wondering, what in the sand hill is he doing? And in a little bit, Yo-Yo wants to know what's going on. Today's Yo-Yo's birthday. Everybody wish Yo-Yo
happy birthday.
Yeah, all right. God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
God is good.
Well, you can't be as old as we are, Yo-Yo, but I don't think so. All right, unless you want to think birthdays or what make it. All right, is everybody connected pretty much? We got 2 more rows to go. 2 more rows to go. I'm too low. Almost. This morning I want, as we're finishing up here, and the rope is coming, the twine is coming here. And Mark, you just set it right there by the candle. That's there we go. Oh, yeah, go get George some. He's got to have it. George has to have it.
I think my union's going to hear about this. George who?
I want you to think about the life that you lead and how you live it. And over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten to know Bill Nelson a little bit better. And he's kind of the inspiration for where I'm coming from early in my message this morning, because I've never really thought about what it would be like not to have my vision, and what a difference it would be if I did not have my vision and I could see. And I'm sure Bill will affirm what I'm going to say, that if you don't have your vision, or if it's not perfect, we know that your other senses are going to become more acute, and they're going to become keener to make up for the lack of vision. And without your vision, you're going to become really more dependent upon your friends, perhaps, to give you guidance and to lead you and to show you the way that you need to go. You also might even be, this is way too loud, might even be where you would get a dog to help you go, and you just are dependent upon your other senses, your friends, some kind of help. And what it boils down to is this body, without the eyes, is incomplete. We don't have color to brighten our day. We couldn't appreciate stained glass windows. We couldn't appreciate the beautiful architecture of our sanctuary and how gorgeous it is. You miss all of the visual delights in the world. And without eyes, face it, our body is just incomplete. It's not whole. And that's a pretty bad thought. But let's flip the coin over, and there are all sorts of jokes about fake eyes and glass eyes. And I'm not going to tell you any of those jokes. It's not that they're bad, they're just not fitting for today. But I want you to think about an eye without a body. And what good would it be? You know, an eyeless body, or a bodiless eye, rather, is totally unimaginable. And the most beautiful eyes in the world, and I'll give you a little bit of a hint into my persona, I think the most beautiful eyes in the world belong to Liz Taylor. Many years ago, and to this day, I still think Liz Taylor has the most gorgeous eyes in the world. But when the eyes are detached from the body, they're dead. They're lifeless. They're worthless. And the eyes need all that the body offers to bring them blood, to bring them life-giving nutrients, to bring them everything they need to animate them, to give them impulses and nerve endings and all that is, and to give those eyes everything they need that gives them life. Well, chapter 12, the last part of it, is a very clever analysis on Paul's part, talking about the body and what it needs and how it functions analogously to the church. Hear the words of the Apostle Paul. For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many are one, so it is with Christ. For in one Spirit we were all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves and free. We were all made to drink the cup of one Spirit. Indeed, the body does not consist of one member, but of many. If the foot would say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less a part of the body. And if the ear would say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less a part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? If the whole body were hearing, where would the sense of smell be? But as it is, God arranged the members in the body, each one of them as He chose. If all were a single member, where would the body be? As it is, there are many members, yet one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. On the contrary, the members of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And those members of the body that we think less honorable, we clothe them with greater honor. And our less respectable members are treated with great respect. Whereas our more respectable members do not need this. But God has so arranged the body, giving the greater honor to the inferior member. That there may be no dissension within the body, but the members may have the same care one for another. If one member suffers, all suffer. All suffer together with it, and if one member is honored, all rejoice together with it. Now here, very quickly, Paul goes into a rehash, almost, of what we studied last week and heard him say. Now you are the body of Christ and individually members of it. And God has appointed in the church first apostles, second prophets, third teachers, then deeds of power, then gifts of healing, forms of assistance, forms of leadership, various kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Do all work miracles? Do all possess gifts of healing? Do all speak in tongues? Do all interpret? But strive for the greater gifts. And I will show you a more excellent way. Clever analogy. Clever analogy. Because we're all very familiar with our own body. And as we get older, we look at it in various ways. You know, what do I need to ask the doctor about this lump or bump? How come I have this dark spot here? What's going on with my body? Well, Paul is using an analogy that he liked so well in the course of all of his letters he used the analogy between the church and the physical human body over 24 times. And he was trying to present to the people at Corinth two complementary truths that complemented each other that they did not get. And the first of those truths was that every part of the body, now we're talking about the physical body, the eye, the elbow, the foot, the ankle, all make valuable contributions to the whole body. And when one of those members is missing, the whole body suffers. And he brings that out, and he gets them to look at it from an anatomical point of view. But he's hoping, just as I'm hoping, that they are going to look at their church. We're going to look at the church, our church, any church, that each of us is an indispensable. Do you got that word? Indispensable part of this microcosmic body of Jesus Christ. The second thing he says is that no single member of the church can survive totally and with life when it is isolated, or when that member is alone, or when it tries to withdraw from the circle. All of the parts of the body, my human body, your human body, our church, the church, all must work together and in unison for the body of Christ, or the body of Bill, to work as it's supposed to. And Paul relied on these images to show both the diversity of the members and the unity of the members. If you notice the sermon title, Head, Shoulders, how many of y'all know that children's song? Knees and toes. And we've all played that game with our children or with our grandchildren. Or some of y'all are lucky enough, you're getting to play it now with your great-grandchildren. But there's truth in it that our body, made up of many members, is dependent upon our head, our shoulders, our knees and toes, and everything else that stems from our body. We are just there. And he felt, and I think we feel, that this analogy is a very, very understandable analogy to give us an idea of the unity that we as a church need to have, just as we as a human body need to have that. Then Paul swings into his full message in verse 27 when he writes poignantly and straightforward to the church at Corinth, and he says, who is the body of Christ? You are the body of Christ. You know, he's talking to the post-Christian church. The book of Corinthians was probably written somewhere around 65 to 70 A.D. There weren't a lot of people still hanging around that had seen Christ. If he had died at 32, 33, somewhere around there, you know, there was a whole generation that had never seen, never sat under his tutelage, and they could only hear about him from other people. And Jesus is saying, or Paul is saying rather, to the church in Corinth, and Jesus is saying to the church of Peabody and McLean, you are the body of Christ. And if I need a young child taught, you're going to do it. You're Christ's body. If I need a sick person cured, you'll be my physician. I'll find the nurse. You are the body of Christ, doing the things that Christ would have done. Think about Christ's ministry, his healing, his teaching. You know, he did everything. And the last thing is his story had to be told. And there was nobody much left. Now there were, I shouldn't say that. but they were getting older, who had sat with him, who had communicated with him, who had been with him during life, before the resurrection, and before the